Hey, what is up, YouTube boxing family? It is KRod7435 here. I am back here with another good video for you guys today. Let's talk about the homie, the brother, Mr. Bryan, the Hunter Polaco. Alright, so for those of you that don't know, Bryan Polaco, he is a 6'2" southpaw Puerto Rican fighter, fighting out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, from where he was born, but I believe he resides in Fajardo, Puerto Rico, and he is 24 years of age, and he is 5-0 with 4 KOs, and he has a pretty good, stacked, skill set. Obviously, his record is still getting there, but nah, he's a beast, man. You guys should definitely go check him out. Bryan Polaco, he's a beast, very good fighter out of Puerto Rico. Um, I wanted to make this video to talk about, I guess like his potential skill set of where he could be at 154, because he is a super welterweight for now, and from what I hear is that he's trying to, get up there in the rankings so that way he could start facing all the big names that, we obviously want to see him in. But yeah, he's a good fighter. Obviously, he's still trying to learn on the job because, he came into the sport a little bit late. But I mean, he's a really good fighter, and I personally like watching him fight. And I think he'll be the biggest future of Puerto Rican
All the big
boxing.
names that
The biggest thing about him is that Bryan Polaco, he has a good, massive, extensive amateur pedigree, in which I don't really care so much about that, but it actually tells you about who he's been in the ring with and who he knows. But he's been, obviously having I guess like multiple amateur battles with guys like Xander Sayas, Omar Rosario, and I don't know who else. Somebody correct me on that if anybody has more information on him. But he's a really, really dangerous fighter. He has massive power in both hands. He can box very, very well, and he has really, really good ring IQ. For like a guy his height and his size at 154, I think he's going to become a problem in the division. The only thing I have to say about weaknesses is just that, um, like, I don't know. I like to say his punch coordination can be fixed better and his footwork can be polished more. But other than that, he's a very, very good fighter. There's really no weaknesses that I could really say out of him that makes me think that, Bryan Polaco is going to be, that type of guy to be, exposed by, any top dog, um, you know, um, in his division. But I think Bryan Polaco's future is very, very bright. And as we can see here in the BoxRec rankings, um, I think there's a lot of names you could see here that he could easily beat. I think he could beat, especially, the top American, up and coming fighters. I think he could definitely beat Reggie Harris. Other guys such as, oh man, I don't even know, honestly, because, 154 is stacked, and we don't even know who's really here that could present a problem to the division. But I think when we go a little bit higher, I think he could definitely beat a guy like, hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, he could definitely beat this guy, Yoelvis Gomez. He's gonna fight Jorge Cota this upcoming March 26th. Don't miss it. I just made a video about him. Well, I'll talk more about him later on in the future, but he's a very, very good southpaw Cuban. But I think Bryan Polaco, he can definitely beat him. He'll give that man issues, and that will be a fight of his life type of moment. I think he could definitely beat him. He could definitely beat a guy like Jorge Fortea. He could beat Jose Luis Sanchez. That was the Mexican dude that gave Xander Sayas a lot of problems. That's a good fight, for him to come into the, American, market stable. Um, Alex Rincon. I like to see this fight. A very, very good southpaw Mexican fighter, coming up out of Dallas, Texas. You know, uh, I think based off of his last fight against Sonny Duverson, he looked really, really sharp. And I think Brian Polaco, he could definitely take him down. I think the biggest weakness out of Alexis or Alex Rincon's boxing ability is that he doesn't know how to cut the ring off, and he's very, very predictable. And I think if Bryan catches those weaknesses on time, he could easily knock him out. Obviously, that's easier said than done, and we haven't really seen like a fight out of Rincon's caliber of where he's actually got hurt in a fight, and he hasn't really shown any possible recovery time. So, I think this will be a very good fight to make. I actually like to see it next. I think him and Rincon should get it going. Definitely Mexico versus Puerto Rico matchup. Other fights that I like to see him face Joey Spencer. I think he could easily defeat him. I think Joey is not showing enough separation in his game where it's very predictable for him to get outgunned one day. I like to see him face, man. I mean, there's so many names here, but I wouldn't mind a Trevon Marshall fight. Trevon Marshall, he's a beast, but he's still on the come up. So I'm trying to think of more veteran style names. I mean, he could beat Sergey Boyachuk. I think this would be a very good fight to make. If I'm Brian Polaco's team, if you want to move Brian Polaco fast in the rankings, I think that would be a really good fight. Maybe like somewhere down the line, let's just say make this after like 4 or 5 fights later, or maybe face a guy like Jamonte Clark. I think Jamonte Clark is a beautiful style matchup. I think this is a really good southpaw versus southpaw type of deadly matchup where that will get Bryan's name on the radar. I wouldn't mind a Brian Mendoza fight. That's a damn good fight too. Obviously Xander Sayas. I like to keep that away for now because I know Bryan could definitely beat him. But the thing is like having Puerto Rican matchups, early in their career doesn't make sense, from a legacy standpoint. So I think there's like enough talent in the pool where he could scale a lot better against guys that already have, good decent names, in the sport. I wouldn't mind a Leon Lawson fight. That's a good fight, and maybe a Devin Alexander. But I don't think Devin Alexander would want to take a fight against a up and coming rookie. But I wouldn't mind to see that fight somewhere down the line. But I think maybe that should just be taken out of the picture because it's like you know God knows like what it's gonna happen with Devin Alexander's career, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably just give up and retire and get away from boxing. But if he's still around, I like to see that fight. Oh, I like to see Jonathan Ennis. This dude. Oh, which makes me question the victory over Mark Reyes. I wouldn't mind to see this fight. This fight was at a catchweight at 151 with Mark Reyes, so Mark Reyes was fighting like, above his, weight class. Wow, that's crazy. I never knew that, but I definitely got to talk with him, about that. But yeah, why not make this fight at 154? This guy versus Brian Polaco. I think I definitely think Brian Polaco can beat this guy up. I think he's a really easy target for a lot of people. I wouldn't mind Rodrigo Damian Correa. That's a good fight. And then anybody in the top 50 or top 75. Man, I wouldn't mind a Cordell Booker fight, but I think that might be pushing it a little bit too far. But I wouldn't mind Greg Vendetti. He could easily beat the shit out of him. Takeshi Inoue, he could whoop his ass. I wouldn't mind Jorge Cota, even though he's old, but he's gonna be getting his butt whooped by Yoelvis Gomez. I mean, if we want to go head over to let the European, sacrifice land of fighters, I wouldn't mind seeing him beat up Scott Fitzgerald, Ted Cheeseman, but the Cheese Man, beat him up, take him out of the picture. Juan Carlos Abreu, Charles Conwell. This is a fight that's definitely going to be seen probably later on in in Bryan's career. But I'm pretty sure Charles he'll be moving up to the next weight class. By the time when he does get maybe like a possible world title shot opportunity, because he's already 16-0 and Bryan's already 5-0. So I think that's a fight, that's a fight to see later on down in the future. So I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. But I mean, if we could definitely see that at 154 or 160, that's a beautiful fight to be made, and that's a really dangerous fight. Bryant Perella, I like to see this fight. I'd probably say give it maybe like a year or two. I think he could definitely beat up Perella, and I think Bryan Perella has shown enough exposure in his game for him to, be beat out by a lot of young killers at 154. But that's a fight, to be made somewhere down the line. I also wouldn't mind Carlos Ocampo. He could easily beat his ass. Um, and yeah, that's about it, man. I know for a fact, I believe Bryan Polaco, he's with that JM Management Group, so that's obviously the management company that works with certain professional fighters' careers. But it's good that he's with them, and hopefully he could be in there with a lot of big names. But shout out to Kind of Local Sports because he was bringing up Bryan Polaco's name, and I never heard anything about him, and I thought Bryan Polaco he wasn't that good, but then looking into his career, he's actually a very talented fighter. So, salute and respect to Bryan Polaco, and I hope Mr. Polaco makes it far, man, because 154 is a very deadly division, and I think that will be the next glamour division next to 147 and 160 and 168. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So I just figured that I give Bryan Polaco some shine on the spotlight, and I could help him out. And I hope everything's well with him and his family, and whatever he's doing. And I hope he does very very well in his next fight because I think he could easily whip a lot of these guys' asses that we see on the mainstream, and he might upset your favorite fighter. So be careful, man, because there's a lot of names on here that shouldn't be on here, and I think Bryan Polaco can easily upset a lot of guys. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later. And be sure to check out Bryan Polaco. I believe he has a Instagram. His name is The Hunter PR. But yeah, be sure to check him out. Check out Kind of Local Sports and check out JM Management Group. That's a boxing management company that manages fighters for anyone that's interested in that type of business. So, all right, I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day, and shout out to the mighty LDBC. Peace, and I'm out.